We welcome you to Mercersburg Academy in Mercersburg, Pennsylvania for a phenomenal Maple League soccer match between the Peddie School Falcons and the Mercersburg Academy Blue Storm. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth here at Mercersburg Academy. Simon Rose alongside Mr. Ryan Bennett. Ryan, thanks for joining us. You know, you spent a lot of time in Mercersburg in your day as the technical coordinator. Now you've jumped ship over to Peddie, so I don't know if there's a better person to have alongside me for this broadcast, so we thank you for joining us. But you saw this Peddie team most recently. They played the Hun School. What did you take away from that game? What'd you see out of the Peddie Falcon soccer team?
I think we're going to have a great game today. Peddie is incredibly fast up top. They've got a couple of guys that are going to go hard at the net, and Mercersburg is going to have a challenge in that Peddie loves to go to the corner and then come back across the goal mouth. And it's a play I watched him work on in practice, in fact, all day Wednesday. So they spent a good 40 minutes just doing that. And these guys are really tuned for getting that ball in deep and coming back across and having their speed and their size. So it'll be a little bit of an uphill battle, I think, today for Mercersburg, which they're not used to.
Right.
Mercersburg has been the king of the crop in the Maple for a couple of years now. And as you and I talked about earlier, today's game really probably determines who wins the Maple this year.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Now, you saw that Mercersburg team last year. They had so much talent. They lost a lot of that talent, have gone on to the next level to play collegiately, but still a lot of talent back this year. But how much for Mercersburg this year? Now, they've done pretty well. They're 7-3-2, and they've got a chance to win the Maple League. That's pretty impressive considering what they lost.
That's right. There's a lot of analogies here. You see it in college and professional levels all the time. They lose three guys last year. David Coley to the University of Washington, Ugo Okoli to Franklin and Marshall, and then T.J. Powers goes to the Naval Academy. And so you're talking about three elite division athletes, and those guys are all performing at their respective clubs now. And so Quentin McDowell, the coach, had his work cut out to replace those guys, and he's done an okay job. But, you know, they were the king of the hill, and now there's some guys that are at least nipping at their heels. It's not a huge drop, but it's enough of a drop to bring it back to where these other teams in the Maple now can really make a run at them. Great win last weekend, though, against Blair. Mercersburg comes back 2 goals down in the last couple of minutes to tie it up, send it to overtime, and they win it. Up until that point, Blair was undefeated.
Yeah, let's, since you just mentioned that win, that's going to bring us to our next segment here in the pregame show, and that's our Strive Player Spotlight. And our Player Spotlight, as we bring it up here, is going to be Matt Linden. He was involved in all 3 of the goals in that comeback. He scored the 2 in the last 3 minutes, and then in overtime, he was the one to assist the goal to put the Mercersburg Academy Blue Storm on top. So what an effort from Matt Linden, the class of 2016. He's from New Delhi, India. What a phenomenal job by him, and that potentially saved the season for Mercersburg.
That's right, and you'll hear me say this a lot. I know a lot of these kids really well from my time at Mercersburg and now my time at Peddie. They're just a great group of students. They're wonderful young men, and the reality is Matt is one of those guys that couldn't be more humble about what he does, and I was excited to hear that he was the guy that had so much success last week.
Well, you see Mercersburg Academy breaking the huddle. They are coached by Quentin McDowell in his 8th season. Bachelor's from Muhlenberg, his master's at George Washington. He's also the Senior Associate Director of Admission and Financial Aid here at Mercersburg Academy, and what a phenomenal job that he has done with the program. Getting guys to come and play for this team from all over the globe. His teams are averaging over 10 wins per season. Here at Mercersburg, he previously was the head boys academy, and he was also the technical director at the National Soccer Coaches Association of America. Ryan, you've been around a lot of coaches in your day, and you've obviously been around Quentin McDowell a lot. Is there anything in particular that sets him apart as a coach?
Passion and fun. You hear a lot about that, but with Quentin, every day at practice is a ton of passion and a ton of fun. He gets absolutely the most out of these guys because they all know that he wants it as badly as they do, but he never loses sight of what's really important here, and that is for these guys to learn and have some fun while they do it. So you'll see that. He's a very vocal coach with the referees as much as with the players. So that's really what it is for Quentin. It's his ability to connect with these guys and continue to let them have fun while they achieve at their very best.
You see the two teams getting together at midfield. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Mercersburg Academy. Two strikers up top will be Alvaro Valentin and Matt Athanas Linden. The midfield, Jinmuk Kang, Christian Recker, Elliot Hicks, and Peyton Stouffer will go up the left flank. The back set for Mercersburg Academy, Ryan Clapp will be on the right, Kane Doyle in the middle, Nim Basem in the middle as well, and then Ethan Malcolm in the left back spot. Their goalkeeper, Miles Heron, under head coach Quentin McDowell. Very exciting time for Mercersburg Academy athletics in general, and the reason for that is the Hale Fieldhouse construction underway on a 64,000 square foot facility set to open next year pending construction, but a very exciting time for Mercersburg to add this facility to their repertoire.
Yeah, it is. It's Berg, and I've got the camera pointed over to the general vicinity. When we come back here in a year or so, it's going to look very different on campus with this great new facility coming on. Head of school Doug Hales last year here, and this has been one of the things that's been on his plate for a long time to try to get accomplished. It'll really move Mercersburg into the same atmosphere as the other Maple schools. And it's an exciting time at Mercersburg. Lots of construction going on as the school continues to grow, and easily one of the most beautiful campuses in all of the country. A little bit chilly.
And we welcome you back to Mercersburg Academy. As the game has just gotten underway, we are 1 minute in. It'll be the Peddie Falcons moving right to left in their visiting maroon jerseys, and moving left to right are the Mercersburg Academy Blue Storm. As a battle at midfield here. And Mercersburg looking to bring it up with Elliot Hicks. Hicks looking to spring Matt Athanas Linden. And he was called offside, so a free kick to come here for Peddie. And the goalkeeper for Mercersburg Academy, Miles Heron, gets it past midfield, headed there and downed by Mercersburg Academy, Christian Recker. Peddie looking to spring some of those forwards. We talked about the forwards in the pregame show for the Peddie Falcons. Very, very dangerous as it's turned over by the Falcons. And back to Ryan Claff, who gives to Alvaro Valentin, looking to spring Jinmuk Kang down the right side. Kang catching up with the ball right at the goal line, pestered in the corner, and tackled away by Jake Green. And then it was Kang who was called for the foul. So early going here, no score, just about 3 minutes.
Every time I do one of these broadcasts with you guys, I seem to bring high winds and cool temperatures. Still dealing with high school students. They're as young as 14, as old as 19. They're still trying to figure it out themselves. They're adolescents, and you just never know what team's going to get off the bus. And so this early part of the game is really critical for Peddie to see if they can stay alive and get their legs under them.
Nice save there on the near side by Dan Peddie, but then played well deep into the Peddie defensive zone as they'll play it back to Leahy. Jake Leahy will play at my alma mater next year. That's Syracuse University.
That's right. The only one, I believe, of the students that from Peddie that has formally committed, and he will head to Syracuse. Very excited about it. Great program. Great for him to see that he gets to get that decision made early and not have it hanging over him as the season progresses.
Yeah, Coach McClellan said that he expects a number of his players to go on to the next level and play collegiate soccer, but you know, soccer is different than sports like football or lacrosse, where kids don't have to commit as early as you would for soccer.
That's right. And the other difference, too, is that soccer is a much bigger Division III sport than it is, say, at the Division I level. So lots of these guys will go to very accomplished programs at the Division III level. I would suspect that next year at this time we'll be talking about, from both of these squads, probably 3 or 4 kids each that are still playing competitive soccer at the college level.
As Peddie will have it back, and their midfield, him on far side. Peddie looking to possess. Up ahead to Brendan Mulligan. And now it's Martin Sasenga. Trails it back to Mulligan. Oh, cheeky ball there. And now an opportunity for Hollowell. And that one went off the side of his foot out of bounds, and a goal kick to come. But probably the best chance we've seen thus far, as Hollowell for a moment was one-on-one with the keeper. So a goal kick to come, and this will beat Kane Doyle to boot it away. Near side, it comes out of bounds. It'll be Mercersburg ball. Again, Mercersburg coached by Quentin McDowell. Peddie coached by Peter McClellan. Quentin McDowell in his 8th season. Peter McClellan in his 13th season.
13th season as the coach, and as Pete will tell you, he's been at Peddie since the day he was born. His dad was also a Peddie faculty member. Pete's was a player for Peddie. Played for his coach, in fact.
When he was the team captain during his senior
time official for soccer. So I know today's officials really well. I made sure before the game to let them know that I was watching them.
Why don't you introduce them?
Special eye on them. The far side official there in the frame right now, J.J. Grace. He's actually a local Chambersburg soccer player. Grew up in the area. I'm sorry, McConnellsburg, just over the mountain. Oh, here we got a.
Yeah, this is Bosom playing it into the middle, and
a little bit dangerous there by Ryan Claff, playing it back to the keeper unintentionally. Center official Scott Cox was all over that one. No way Scott would let it go if there was any intent there to play back to the keeper. Third official today over on the near sideline here, Ken Arndt, an engineer by trade. One of the smartest human beings I've ever been in a room with. I never argue with him when he tells me I get a call wrong.
As Hicks plays it back. Ethan Malcolm back to Hicks. And Malcolm.
I think the wind took our camera there for a second.
There you go. It is windy, and when I got here at about 11 a.m., it was beautiful out. It was sunny.
Yep.
There was no wind, no breeze, but now that wind might play a bit of a factor here, moving left to right. So with Mercersburg, I remember when I played soccer and we went out for the coin toss, depending on which side we were defending, always depended on which way the wind was going. Mercersburg opting to go left to right here with the wind in the first half.
The age-old debate: do you play with the wind in the first half or the second half?
Yeah,
do you wear them out early, or do you save your legs for later?
Well, I don't know. My point in that debate would be, I've been involved with games where the wind changes at points during the game. So you know the wind's going one way at the beginning of the game, you might as well go with it.
That's right. Take what you're given, not what you might get later.
As some contact there as Jinmuk Kang played the man to the ground.
Scott originally was an official back in the day in North Carolina, and he'll be the first one to tell you that soccer's a little at Mercersburg. Last year was his first year playing soccer. He's would describe himself as a basketball player, and so he will also play some varsity basketball this year for Mercersburg.
Alvaro Valentin will put this free kick in. Valentin, one of those internationals on the squad. He's from Spain.
Mercersburg's 2 come-from-behind goals last week against Blair were off of set pieces.
And a dangerous ball, but it will roll out of bounds. Looking for Matt Athanas Linden, and those were the 2 that connected on 1 or 2 of those goals in that Blair game.
That's right, and that's it. Coach McClellan talked a lot before the game about being on edge about their set pieces, making sure that Peddie was ready for what Mercersburg had to offer on that front.
The defense for Peddie, playing with it in the back, and Jake Green Now look to put it in the vicinity of Sasenga. And now Mercersburg with, and Elliott Hicks. Linden looking to flip on, but he flicks it on right to the goalkeeper, who resets with his feet. Now on the far side, it's Tim Baxter for Peddie. Well defended out there on the flank by the Mercersburg Academy Blue Storm. And we've got a whistle and a free kick to come here for Mercersburg.
15 minutes into the game, we really haven't had any great scoring opportunities. A corner kick early on for Peddie that didn't develop into much of anything, and a couple of set pieces for Mercersburg, but similar stories.
And oftentimes with good teams playing against each other, you see defensive battles, and so far it's been that. But here's an opportunity for Mercersburg. Getting past the guy was Alvaro Valentin, still loose, and making a nice play was Jake Leahy. He made the initial save, and then he comes over to gobble it up on the potential rebound. That was probably the best chance of the afternoon thus far.
And I showed you a beautiful picture of the grass while that was going on.
Let's take my word for it. Alvaro Valentin one-on-one with the keeper, and a nice save made by Leahy. Here is Jinma Kang. And now Peddie with it. Mulligan eyed up by two Mercersburg players. They force him to play it out of bounds, and a throw coming here for the Blue Storm. Linden playing backwards, back to his defender and Ethan Malcolm. In the middle, won by Elliott Hicks. And Hicks playing it ahead with some space, looking to get a cross in. Does so. The Peddie defender is there, doesn't get much on it. It is Valentin. Off to Kang, got a shot on, and another save made by Leahy. It'll go out of bounds for a corner kick. Mercersburg Academy threatening here in the first half. So our second corner of the afternoon. In fact, we had a corner for Peddie very early on in the game, the point in the game where we were still trying to get our stream up and running in that first minute or two. So, but this is the first corner of the game for Mercersburg Academy, sent in by Valentin. And it stayed out of bounds the whole time. It'll be a goal kick here for Peddie. Peddie claims to have the toughest schedule in New Jersey, with the exception of St. Benedict's, who is the nation's #1 team. In fact, 2 of Peddie's 3 losses have come to nationally ranked opponents. So you got a good team, but they're battle-tested as well, playing some very quality opponents.
Yeah, there aren't many schools in the Maple, if any, that will tell you that when they get to their conference schedule, they've actually gotten to some of their easier games. But in Peddie's case, that's actually true. Pete sets them up with a tough schedule before they get to the conference, so that by the time this comes around, they are ready to go.
Mercersburg looking to set something up. This is Bazim on the right side, or left side, excuse me. Now back, they get a switch to the near side. Ryan Clapp for Valentin. Linden's there too. It'll roll all the way to Leahy. Leahy rolling it out to restart.
Ryan Claff is a great setup man. I was a little concerned coming into today's game how he would handle the speed up front, but to this point, Peddie just hasn't really pushed that. Opportunity hasn't presented itself.
And potentially those bus legs into effect here in the first half. It might take some time for Peddie to get comfortable. But most of this game has been played in the midfield. A few chances for Mercersburg, maybe one good chance for Peddie, but other than that, this has been a eventless game in the scoring column. But a possible opportunity here as Sasenga leaves it off. Kicked away by Mercersburg's defense.
Oops. Get back there, camera.
Martin Sasenga winning possession again for the moment for Peddie. And now Sasenga in the midfield. Check that. That's DJ Palmer for the Peddie Falcons. Taken away by Mercersburg, and they spring Jinma Kang into the corner. Kang guarded by Green. Can Kang get a cross? He does not do so, but he does win a corner off of Green out of bounds. And another corner kick here to come for Mercersburg Academy.
See how they set up in front of the goal this time. That last corner kick was simply kicked behind the net. See if they get this one out front to the top of the goal area.
The lefty kick is in. It's a dangerous ball. Leahy came in and may have gotten a touch. It's out of harm's way for the moment. But now back to the near side. Peddie controls with Linden. Athanas Linden with the lefty shot goes in. Upper 90. Matt Athanas Linden breaks the scoring. And it's 1-0. Mercersburg Academy. He was our Strive spotlight because he was involved in all 3 of the goals in Mercersburg's last comeback win over Blair Academy. 2 goals in the last 3 minutes, or 2 assists in the last 3 minutes, and then he scored the game-winning goal in double overtime, and here he gets Mercersburg on the board.
I'm going to try to show that goal again. Here we go. From the corner.
Oh,
just a
done.
beautiful shot on net.
Oh, just nothing you can do about it if you're Jake Leahy. He's got a tall frame, but that was a rocket into the upper 90. So in the battle of 2 7-3 teams, Mercersburg Academy strikes first. Here's Sasenga. Slide tackled away nicely by Bastia Kumpo. Check that was Ethan Malcolm with the slide tackle. The Mercersburg Academy now with the throw. It'll be Ethan Malcolm to throw it in. Linden shielding his body. The lefty was last to touch, so a throw in here for Peddie. And our first substitution, I believe, of the game is Joe Worthen, class of 2016 from Freehold, New Jersey, checks into play. He replaces Sean Daly. Falcons find themselves down 1-0 after the goal in the 18th minute by Linden. Another throw here for Peddie. Sasenga playing it off of a Mercersburg player out of bounds. Now this is a Peddie Falcon team whose offense has been rolling, especially after last game where they scored 8 goals. For them to come out and really not have a ton of pressure on the goalkeeper and Miles Herron of Mercersburg, that says a lot for the defense of Mercersburg Academy.
It does, and I think Coach will be talking to these guys at halftime about not keeping the shape that they're so used to having. I haven't seen them yet go to the corner with a ball, which is really their strong suit. And we'll see if maybe in adjustments made at halftime, if they can make it to halftime. That may be part of the substitution, is that Coach McClellan might just be talking to some guys about going back out onto the field and reminding Peddie how they'd like to play here.
A tackle at midfield, and it'll turn into a foul. Nice work by DJ Palmer.
It's an easy call for Scott Cox, the center official, to make. Now the question is, can Peddie do anything with it?
Tackled there by Christian Recker. Up ahead, it's Linden. Athanas Linden. Don't want to short him on his name, as Elliot Hicks now looks to the other side of the field. Long ball looking for Kang, but it's a little bit off the mark and will roll all the way in to the goalkeeper, Leahy. Peddie will start from the back.
You see it right there. Mercersburg's got 6 guys, and they're just denying everything through the middle.
Williams, another tackle at midfield.
It's a great battle for the ball, but he runs right into more traffic.
And they can't get through it as Hicks takes it away. Hicks slips it through to Valentine. Tackled right back by Joe Worthen. And they'll go all the way back to the goalkeeper, Leahy. A very good pressure in the midfield we continue to see from Mercersburg. As Sasenga trying to play to space. Instead, he plays it right to Valentine. Valentine gets it back after passing off and trails it to Elliot Hicks. Hicks to Malcolm. Linden chasing Near the goal line, able to get the cross in. Defended away. Very good clear by the Peddie Falcons. And now they've got some space in midfield. They're looking to counterattack. DJ Williams giving chase. What a nice job there by Ryan Clapp. Able to get back on his feet and play the ball all the way down the right flank. Jay Green. DJ Palmer. Palmer for Sasenga.
Mercersburg's just doing a great job right now of meeting the point of attack before anything can develop. You hear coaches yell it from the sideline all the time, get there early, and that's exactly what Mercersburg's doing to this point in the game.
This is Joe Worthen, able to maintain possession among 3 defenders for Mercersburg. They do have to play it back. This is DJ Williams. Williams making a move, wants to get a shot off. He does, and it's a good one, but it was right at the goalkeeper and Miles Heron. Had some good spin on that ball, but it found its way right into the middle of the cage.
That's a good take, and that's probably more of what Peddie needs, is to get some shots on frame, make Miles move around a little bit in the back and see what they can get. Possible deflection.
DJ Palmer with 6 goals this season.
He had at least 2 of them against Hun.
In fact, there are 3 players on this team, this Peddie team, who have scored more than 6 goals, or 6 goals or more. DJ Palmer, Dan Hollowell's got 7 goals, and Martin Sasenga's got 8.
Sean Daly checks back into the game.
He's got a goal this season. 5 assists, though.
Brendan Mulligan steps out.
Sasenga losing the ball. Malcolm with some good defense. Clears it deep.
There's a shot of the woods. Our camera's on a little.
Yep. Oh. Here we go. Back to the action. Linden giving pressure. It gets back to Leahy. And we'll send it long.
Nice pass back there to the keeper, who's not afraid to handle the ball with his feet, which is an oxymoron, I understand.
Oh, keeper feet?
Keeper feet.
I was a keeper. I had the worst keeper feet. In fact, I was even worse than most keepers. I couldn't even take my own 6s.
You're that guy that we have to yell out to. Get it back in there.
I was that guy.
Good challenge there. The throw in here.
Yep, Peddie with the ball in Mercersburg defensive area, trying to get it through Hicks. Still having to play it back, and we've seen Peddie have to do this quite a bit here in this game in terms of playing the ball backwards to gain some space, as the battle won by Peddie. Well, it went off the head of a Mercersburg player out of bounds, so Dan Hollowell will throw in. Hollowell wearing the yellow arm sleeve to designate his captain role on the Peddie squad.
He was the guy mentioned to me most often as the player that they'll miss most next year from this roster. Peddie's not going to graduate a lot of starters, but Danny is a guy that they're not sure they can replace.
DJ Palmer making some magic happen. I think the referee played advantage for a few moments before he blew that whistle. And the foul against Kane Doyle, a senior from London. So stepping up in a dangerous area is check that as Dan Hollowell, of course. 4-man wall for Mercersburg. Hollowell gets it in, sliding over and making the save was Miles Heron. All things considered, pretty good free kick there by Hollowell.
One of those things we try in soccer from time to time is to just give it a rip and see what happens.
His punt goes out of bounds. Coach McDowell's got to be very happy with what he's seen out of his team defensively and, of course, offensively. The goal scored by Matt Athanas Linden, picking up where he left off against Blair Academy. A lefty strike into the upper 90. And as we approach about 10 minutes to go here in half number 1, it's a 1-0 lead for Mercersburg, looking for more. Valentine got a dangerous first touch, but then defended away. Sasenga has it at midfield. A nice ball there to get it to his teammate in Daly. Sean Daly battling with Hicks. Hicks wins that battle. Daly being Haley pestering still and winning possession back. This is Grant Connigan. Now tackled at midfield, and here's an opportunity for Mercersburg with Valentine. He has it taken away. It finds Sasenga in the midfield. Martin Sasenga, a junior from Staten Island, for DJ Williams. Well done by Peddie. It's Williams, had it deflected, and in steps Miles Heron. And the save made. It's starting to see some rhythm in the attack for Peddie. Those quick 1-2 balls starting to get together with some efficiency, and Heron has had to make a few saves in the last few minutes, more saves than he's had to make as the half started. Here's Sasenga giving chase.
There just isn't a whole lot of space out there for Peddie to work.
Get a look at the sideline as that's Quentin McDowell. One here by Peddie. Right back it comes to Mercersburg with Christian Recker.
Coach McDowell not hesitating to let the defenders know there that he's not happy with these last couple of runs that Peddie's had. Their organization fell apart in the middle there, and that's exactly what causes that shot on goal.
You know, Coach McDowell said that the keys to this game are as follows. He said they've got to maintain team shape. He said that they've got to defend collectively. Early pressure on the ball. I would say that those few things, for the most part in this first half, have been succeeded by Mercersburg. And Coach McDowell's game plan being implemented well by his players. Far side for Peddie. It's Lalu Jornijo. Kang playing back, and Kane Doyle plays out of bounds. But it was last touched by a Peddie Falcon, so here comes a throw for Mercersburg Academy. Again, we can't stress it enough. This game could determine the winner of the Maple League. As it stands right now, Peddie is 2-0. And Mercersburg Academy is 1-0-1. But a win by Mercersburg would leapfrog them over Peddie in the standings, and with just a few games remaining, would put them in good position to win the Maple League for the second straight year at least. Throw is lofted into the 18. Kicked away by Peddie. Kane Doyle putting it back in play. Valentine was in the area. Good defense by Peddie.
I'd have had my whistle in my mouth there. I think that kick was a little bit high on Peddie's part. I think they got away with one there.
And now they control in the offensive zone.
That's a good
Looking to spring Brandon Mulligan. Couldn't do so. Good idea, though. It comes back to G.J. Williams. Now Hollowell. Williams tackled there by Kang. And again, not a lot of space in the midfield as Mercersburg continues to attack those midfield players. This is Sasenga.
Sasenga being guarded there by Elliott Hicks, a three-sport stud, if ever there was a word for one. One of the calmest athletes you'll ever meet, but a fierce competitor. Good basketball player, great tennis player. Got a bright future. Incredibly smart kid, too.
Yeah, junior from Staten Island, New York. 8 goals, 3 assists this year on the soccer field. As Mercersburg will throw it in, Ryan Claff. Looking for Athanas Linden. Last touch by Peddie's Jake Green, and another corner kick here for Mercersburg. Simon Rose and Ryan Bennett here on the Strive Network. Glad you could join us from Mercersburg Academy. We're a pair of 7-3 teams. Doing battle, Mercersburg with the goal in the 18th minute by Matt Athanas Linden. He's the one who plays this corner kick in. Got a touch. Getting a touch was Leahy. It's still loose. Leahy, well done as he stays with it and covers up. Leahy's made some phenomenal saves here in this first half. It's 1-0, but it could be more.
He did well there, and a great show of sportsmanship by the Mercersburg attacker there to make sure that Jake was okay after the battle for the loose ball.
Again, Jake Leahy will be playing at the collegiate level next year at Syracuse University. As this is Dranijo getting a cross in. Nobody's home on the other side. Ryan Claff having some trouble with it. Hollowell giving pressure. He thought that he won a corner. Instead, it'll be a goal kick.
That's exactly the kind of play that Peddie has been hoping for.
By the way, I had a chance to sit down with the athletic director here at Mercersburg. That's Rick Hendrickson, for an on-camera interview. And we'll play that at halftime, so stay tuned with us at halftime as we hear from Rick Hendrickson about not only this soccer program, but the other athletic programs here at Mercersburg Academy. Girls tennis having a phenomenal year here at Mercersburg. The golf team hosting the PISSAA Championship at Chambersburg Country Club this afternoon. And that golf team is undefeated.
Yeah, Mercersburg's made some really good, impressive strides with a lot of their athletic programs. Soccer certainly in the last couple of years progressed to the point where they're regular participants in the state tournament.
As this corner comes in to the far side, and this shot is wide. So a goal kick to come here for Peddie. Yeah, Mercersburg has had some great athletes come through their school. In fact, most of the students here at school play in some form or fashion athletically.
Yeah,
I believe the number is 80%.
That's right. Both schools have an after-school requirement, a participation requirement, and most students choose athletics as a way to do that.
Here's an opportunity for Peddie. Sasenga able to get it back. Sasenga cannot finish. It goes wide. And it was deflected, though. So good defense by Mercersburg as it goes out of bounds and a corner kick to come. But Sasenga with a bullet that went just wide. So Dan Hollowell will play this one in. Hollowell's corner, dangerously played. It went off a Mercersburg defender and into the back of the net. An own goal.
I believe that's 100% correct, and I'm gonna work my newfound magic here and see what we can get with a replay.
Let's play this one up.
See the kick come in here.
It was a very dangerous ball by Hollowell. It's a really good ball by him. Sasenga was in the area. Let's see who it is last touched by. And that was last touched by the midfielder and Elliot Hicks. So that makes it 1-1 and a tough one to swallow if you are Mercersburg Academy. You've defended so well to this point. As Ryan gets the play back in frame.
That wandering camera.
So 1-1 after the own goal. Elliot Hicks last touched it into the back of the nets. Matt Athanas Linden was the one who scored for Mercersburg. And always very frustrating to give up goals at the end of a half, especially with how well Mercersburg has played And a goal that looks like that is not going to feel good as they head to the locker room or their halftime huddle. Peddie looking for more, leaving it for Sasenga. Got a touch and a great save made by Herron. Coming off and cutting out the angle out of Sasenga, who still has it on the far side. Sasenga playing it back to DJ Williams. Williams making a move into space and has space to get the cross off, and another save made not once but twice by Herron. Beautifully done by the goalkeeper for Mercersburg Academy. Beautiful ball played in by Williams, and Sasenga got a touch. And Herron playing tall, making a few huge saves to keep this a 1-1 ball game. Peddie really starting to find their form in the latter stages of this first half. It was all Mercersburg to start. As we get a quick replay of this last opportunity for Peddie. And that's going to do it for the first half as the siren sounds on the scoreboard. Score is 1-1. Mercersburg strikes in the first 18th minute with Matt Athenas Linden getting on the board, and then an own goal by Mercersburg Academy off a corner kick. Last touch by Peddie by Dan Hollowell, but it was a own goal in the books as it went off of the leg of
Elliot Hicks.
Elliot Hicks was the last one to touch it for Mercersburg Academy. So we head to halftime, and at halftime the score is 1-1. We're going to take a step aside, and we'll leave you with Rick Hendrickson, the athletic director at Mercersburg Academy. He gets to talk about the athletic program here at Mercersburg.
Well, Mercersburg's a place that believes in education-based athletics. We think the athletic experience is part of the overall education experience, and that you grow as a person in some ways on the field and the court and on the mat and otherwise that you wouldn't just in the classroom. You know, classroom work is very important, but there's so much that comes from being a member of an athletic team. Sounds a little cliched, but our core values in athletics include things like compete with integrity, and kids have to go through that experience. And sometimes that experience means winning, and sometimes it means losing. It's many times the teams that no one sees or very few people see that are so exciting as well. And this fall, for example, our girls tennis team is having a bang out season. You know, they're doing really well. They're 3-1 in the Maple. They face Peddie today. You know, could finish 4-1 in the Maple for the first time ever, actually, in the league in our 15 years. Our golf team is undefeated. They're actually hosting the state championship today at Chambersburg Country Club. Our two cross-country teams, both of them are doing very well, both led by very strong runners, but they've done very well in regional competition, expect to do well in the Maple. Well, our volleyball team always does well. Coach Katie LaRue does a nice job with them. It's been a different feel on campus this fall because those sports that are not big spectator sports are doing really well. But what I'm impressed by, what makes me feel good about Mercersburg is that the rest of our students support those teams as well. They don't just go to the football game. You know, they make sure that the golf team, you know, feels some love. And I think that's important about the atmosphere that we have here, that we support one another in athletics. Well, the catalyst to the entire program is Quentin McDowell, our head coach. He's an excellent coach. He's an excellent networker. He develops talent. It's not just that we bring in a bunch of talented kids every year and he throws them out on the field. You walk to his practice and everything is precise, everything is in unison, everything has a purpose. And, you know, coaching is that to a large degree. The other aspect of it is we're able to draw students and thus student athletes from around the world. So, you know, we'll have a forward player that's from Senegal and we'll have a defender who's from Mercersburg. And Quentin puts all of that together and produces quite a good team. We had just a team for the ages last year. It was an unbelievable collection of talent. It was the culmination of a couple of years of progression. And, there were certain characteristics that team had. This one, I think, resilience and grit. They've had some really tough games. They've had injuries. They've had to overcome some adversity that they didn't face last year. They're missing, we graduated 5 kids who are playing in college right now, from last year's team. And this is a bit of a younger team, too. So there are some underclassmen that have stepped up. But I think overall, this team, Quentin's teams always have hustle. They always hustle. They always try to beat you to the ball. They're going to play until the last second in the second half or the overtime, if that may come. But this year's team, resilience and grit, those would be the two.
So good words from Rick Hendrickson, the athletic director here at Mercersburg Academy. Simon Rose back with Ryan Bennett, a 1-to-1 ball game that, started in favor of Mercersburg Academy, but I think those bus legs did come into effect in the early going for Peddie. But they were able to get their footing towards the end of that first half for the Peddie Falcons. They got one through. It wasn't the prettiest of goals, but it did go through for the Peddie Falcons. Your takeaways from the first half?
I think that you're exactly right. I think it took a while for Peddie to get warmed up. We saw a lot of play in the middle of the field. Mercersburg's only goal was just a spectacular shot. Their goalkeeper, Jake, had absolutely no shot at making that save. What's going to be the challenge in the second half is if those legs have woken up for Peddie, can Mercersburg's defenders stay with them the entire time? Coach McDowell's behind us right now talking to his team, and I've overheard him saying the bottom line is they've got to stick with their man. They can't make any early attacks. They've got to be incredibly patient on defense and just stay with their man. If they do that, they've got a chance. If they start attacking the ball and not the man, they're going to find themselves behind the man and the ball, and that's going to be trouble.
So Peddie won, Mercersburg Academy won at halftime. Take a look back here on the Strive Network and take a look at some of the highlights from the last few weeks. Has a lot of pressure and an interception. Chase Singletary's going to take it to the house, and the Blair Academy Buccaneers strike first. They still have not allowed a defensive touchdown as Hun until right now.
And there's an early shot, and it goes in for Emily Dehan, her 5th goal of the season. Just like that, Blair leads 1-0. And it gets through for goal.
He passes it up. First pass to go in, a diving save. Oh my, Fiona Walt. What a save. Quarterback. Again. It's Farmer who breaks free. Somehow Keshawn Farmer is loose inside the 25 down to the 19. He takes the pitch. Juwan Dolbris weaving upfield across the 40, still on his feet, coming back the other way. Juwan Dolbris makes the last man miss, and then he's gone. In the gun on 4th down, rolling right, completing. Keeling Hunter has got the first down, and he's got the touchdown. On 4th and 9, Peddie strikes again. Back here to Mercersburg Academy, where it's 1-1 at halftime. The teams have taken the field for their warm-ups of the second half. Simon Rose back with Ryan Bennett as the two teams make some adjustments at halftime. And if you're Mercersburg Academy, what adjustments do you make if you're head coach Quentin McDowell?
I think Mercersburg right now is doing such a great job defensively, other than the one lapse there, that they can be solid and go back to that format. Offensively, they've got to find a way to start making some runs. And I would say that if they attack the outside, put some pressure on the wings of Peddie and see if they can't get that ball back to the inside. for Matt to set some stuff up from the midfield and see if Kang can't come from the right side and punch it in is probably the way they're going to go.
Let's take a look at some of the upcoming events here on the Strive Network. As you see, Blair versus Kent Plays Volleyball actually did not take place today. The Blair volleyball game will be moved to next Friday, where they take on Rutgers Prep. So we've got a very jam-packed week starting on Monday. Well, I guess you could say starting today. We'll take the day off tomorrow. On Sunday, Monday, we will be at Blair Academy for Rutgers Prep against Blair in girls soccer. Then the boys will do battle in boys soccer on Tuesday against Rutgers Prep, Blair against Rutgers Prep. And then the NJISSA Prep Tournament Championships begin right here on the Strive Network. Volleyball will be on Wednesday. Then we'll see Blair Lawrenceville football, soccer in the prep tournaments on the 1st. Soccer and field hockey on the 4th. Peddie versus Blair football will wrap up our season from Hightstown, New Jersey, right here on the Strive Network. And right now we've got Maple League Soccer in the second half of play between Peddie and Mercersburg Academy underway. They switch sides of the field. The wind has died down, so we talked about that wind factor in the first half. You take what you know is yours, and that's the wind in the first half at your back. And now Peddie moving left to right. And Mercersburg Academy moving right to left. In there for Mercersburg is Peyton Stauffer. And they get a switch of the field. Kane Doyle all the way to the other side.
Peyton Stauffer was one of my JV basketball players last year when I was here at Mercersburg.
I didn't know you were a coach here.
Boarding school life, you do a little bit of everything.
I see. Did you ever coach soccer? Did you ever help out with the soccer program?
I always tease the athletic director here at Mercersburg, Rick Hendrickson, and before that, Ron Seymour, that I'd coach soccer when they'd pay me as much as I got for refereeing.
That's true. Those refs.
That was never in the cards, so
well.
I stuck to doing what I did best, which was giving out yellow cards.
I see. Maybe making people angry on the field. You got to have some thick skin to referee.
You got to have some thick skin to be the director of technology, so it goes hands in hand.
Again, that's the voice of Ryan Bennett, the current director of technology over at the Peddie School and former director of technology at Mercersburg Academy. In fact, the reason that we are up and running and online here this afternoon is because of the network that you built here at the Mercersburg Academy.
It's true. I hate to think about how long I was. Oh, that's a nice cross.
Yeah, getting a leg on that was Nigel Woodruff, but it went out of bounds.
Yep, a lot of fond memories here at Mercersburg. It was a great place to raise children, and had 2 kids that graduated from the academy. And we've got one more who someday will have the choice of wherever he wants to go. Who knows? Maybe we'll come back.
Well,
it's a beautiful place of the country.
Oh, it certainly is. And we mentioned that Hale Fieldhouse under construction now, but also those houses that you see on the far side of your picture, those were not here last year. That is a recent construction development, as now some of the staffing will be living, or is living, in those houses now. Beautiful. It completes a beautiful picture of this soccer field here at Mercersburg. It's already, as you said, Ryan, in a beautiful area.
That's right. Those houses were under construction last year at this time and finished up, and folks moved into them over the summer. It's a great way to keep faculty and their families right in the middle of campus and around all the action.
Woodruff playing back to DJ Palmer. Palmer, for the most part, has been sort of the quarterback, if you will, of this Peddie Falcons team in the midfield. Most of the opportunities have come off of his leg.
Yeah, DJ's definitely the setup man. Although he will get in the action himself. He's quick, he's got good ball skills. But he's definitely trying to set up Martin, who has the real speed.
This is Grant Connigan lofting it in, and it wasn't too much of an issue for Miles Herron.
That's what they're going for, though. I can tell you right now that that's all Coach McClellan and Coach Sham were talking about at halftime, was getting that ball wide and crossing it back in, letting guys make a run to it.
Herron punts out of bounds. Miles Herron had a very nice first half. In fact, both goalkeepers made some very nice saves. I don't think either one can be blamed for the respective goals that went into the back of the net.
Yeah, certainly not. The Peddie goal was just an absolute picture-perfect shot, and there's not much Miles can do about an errant ball bouncing off a defender.
As Mercersburg looking to bring up, Nigel Woodruff providing some pressure and forcing the Blue Storm to play it back as Nim Bazem. Now it's Hicks, who was credited, if you want to call it credited, for that own goal. Valentine looking for Linden, race with the goalkeeper, and Jake Leahy wins it. Very good reactions by Leahy, not a lot of margin for error there, as Linden was looming.
And that's what a school like Syracuse is looking for. No decision-making issues there. Once he made up his mind, he committed to it, he came out, and if he doesn't do it, then it's a big problem. But that quick decision, that's the kind of thing that's going to reward him well at the next level.
Here on the near side, this is Peyton Stauffer among three defenders. Not much he can do about that as Peddie takes over possession. They'll have a throw-in, and Grant Connigan puts it back in play for Sasenga. Guarded up by Bazim. And now in midfield, Mercersburg's Christian Recker had possession for the moment, but now Peddie with it. At the top of the 18, it's Brendan Mulligan for Sasenga. Sean Daly tripped up, and the whistle comes. This could be a foul. And let's see if the referee wants to go to his book. He does not. It's a foul right outside of the 18. Dangerous spot here for Peddie, as they'll what will essentially be a short corner kick to come if you've watched some field hockey. They get it right in play, deflected there. It'll go out of bounds for a corner kick. Peddie's attempted shot there was Sean Daly.
Yeah, knowing these officials as I do, I can tell you that Scott Cox is going to be very hesitant to go to his pocket for any sort of card.
High ball to the corner of the 6. Sasenga got a touch, and so did the leg of a Mercersburg Academy player.
All three of these officials are guys who don't want to be a part of the game. They're just here to make sure that nobody gets hurt. They're going to do as little as they can to insert themselves into the gameplay.
Great effort here by Nigel Woodruff. As the ball leaks out to midfield, DJ Palmer is there to pick it up.
Nigel Woodruff's the only freshman on this Peddie squad. Simon's double-checking his notes. He doesn't believe that I got that one right.
No, I want to see how many goals he's scored here in this season, and I don't believe he has scored a goal.
I don't believe he has either.
He's from Belmead, New Jersey.
That's right.
I would never question you, Ryan. Dangerous ball here as Mercersburg with Nim Bazim. That is a fun name to say. Defended away in the 6. All the way back to Peddie, and they'll reset all the way back to Jake Leahy. Chance to show off his keeper feat. Good boot by Leahy. Hollowell got a touch, and now we'll see the other goalkeeper, Miles Herron.
Play a little bit of back-and-forth soccer here for a while.
So 8th minute into the second half. It's a 1-1 ball game. Mercersburg scoring on Matt Athanas Linden's strike from about 25 yards out. And Peddie scoring off of a corner kick, which will go in the books as an own goal. Off the legs of Elliot Hicks of Mercersburg. Here is Hicks fighting for Mercersburg Academy. It gets through him. And Peddie playing out to midfield. Bazim with the head. And now Kang. Now Williams with the last touch for Peddie. And now high in the air by Joe Worthen. Back to Bazim. Sasenga giving pressure. He gets it off. Does Bazim, and so does Ethan Malcolm.
Much better possession by Peddie so far this half. Found Mercersburg on their heels a little bit.
Much of this second half being played in the midfield area. As this one intercepted by Sean Daly. Daly trying to slip it through to Hollowell. Couldn't get it there. And Peddie still with possession. Nice move made by Brandon Mulligan. Now turning upfield. Sent away by Mercersburg Academy. And now Jake Green will trail it back to his defense. And Harrison Wenzel. DJ Williams. Now Mulligan. And Athanas Linden, the lefty, plays to space and a nice ball up the left side. Here comes Peyton Stauffer, leaving it for Linden in a foot race with Harrison Wenzel. And Linden goes down to the turf. And a foul to come. Here's an opportunity for Mercersburg Academy. And we've mentioned that they are dangerous on set pieces. Ryan, you mentioned that those two of the goals that they scored against Blair Academy did come off set pieces.
That's right. This is a strength of Coach McDowell's. He really gives the kids a lot of options and a lot of great techniques.
Athanas Linden plays it too far towards the goalkeeper of Jake Leahy, who is easily able to gobble that one up.
You saw Matt shake his head. He wants that one back. He knows he didn't strike that one exactly the way he wanted to. Didn't give his teammates a chance to run onto it.
Martin Sasengo with possession. Leaves it for DJ Williams. Or DJ Palmer, excuse me. Palmer. Forks into the corner. Gets a cross off. And ends up being a pretty good one considering where he was. And now a turnover as Daly, one possession back. A shot comes on here and back out to midfield. Nice tackle by Jen McCang. Linden battling with Wenzel. Wenzel well done on the 50-50 ball. Will receive it back from his fellow teammate and Grant Connigan. Connigan with it here on the near flank. Now Palmer looking to spring Nigel Woodruff, the freshman. Woodruff leaving it for Daly.
That is a great tackle at the top of the box to break that play up before anything really dangerous could get started.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, Mercersburg Academy has played some phenomenal defense. Now looking at the scoreboard and knowing how Peddie scored their goal on an own goal, you wouldn't say that fact is true. But this is a very potent offensive team in the Peddie Falcons, as this one will be played by the feet of Miles Herron. But coming out of bounds, mistouched by Ethan Malcolm.
Coach McDowell imploring his guys to just settle down and get back.
Sasenga looking for Palmer. Well done by Nim Bazim. As this one is played out of bounds. The attempted shot by Dan Hollowell. Hollowell from Skillman, New Jersey.
The two coaches are a contrast in styles. Yeah, we don't hear much out of Coach McClellan for Peddie. Chooses to bring his guys over and talk to him one-on-one. Coach McDowell much more vocal. And it works for both of them.
Right. And there's no right way to coach. If you get results,
which both coaches clearly do.
As Sasenga receives the ball, it was a good one from Jake Green, but coming over to make the defensive play was Kane Doyle. Hollowell in play to Sean Daly. Junior from East Windsor, being guarded by Elliott Hicks, still with possession. A touch by Palmer. Bicycle kick goes off the crossbar by Sasenga. Oh, so close to making this a 2-1 ball game. And even though that ball didn't go in, that was some impressive stuff by Martin Sasenga. Oh, boy. That's stuff that you would see on the
That's Premier League
Yeah,
stuff right
Premier
there.
League stuff. Look at this. We get this replay potted up. Oh, so close. And it came back to him as well. As coming back to live action, there's a foul against Peddie. And a opportunity here for Mercersburg Academy. My goodness, I'm still trying to get over that bicycle kick. That is not something you see very much at the high school level.
Quite a shot. And oftentimes when you do see them, they're just not well executed. They're not close. In fact, as an official, I can tell you that many times I'm more concerned about a dangerous play than anything else. But that was incredibly well executed.
Athanas Linden, the lefty, lofts it in. Hicks got a touch. Oh, it went right through. Kang put it in. It got through Kane Doyle, but Jinmook Kang put it into the back of the net, and the flag is up for offsides. So wipe away the goal.
Oh, my, I was so busy setting up the replay, I wasn't even paying attention, but you're absolutely right. J.J. Grace had the flag up.
So I was going to say that Kane Doyle got away with that ball going through his legs because Hicks made a nice play to get it into.
And right there on the far sideline, you can see the officials got his flag in the air and had been as the goal was being scored. So there you have it. Video evidence that he called it before the goal went in.
Yeah, it was Kang who was offsides. Doyle, excuse me, I don't believe was. A very well executed set piece by Mercersburg Academy, with the exception of how it finished. So it remains 1-1. Two great chances for either team. The bicycle kick by Martin Sisenga, and then the offsides call as the ball went into the back of the net, but called back by the referee as Kang was offsides. But here's Linden in a foot race. Great defense by Harrison Wenzel. Getting back and playing it out on the near side, playing it safe. And as a goalkeeper, that's always what you like to see out of your defender. When in doubt, play it out.
Jason Baisden, the Peddie School athletic director, checking in at the booth. Easily the best dressed athletic director in the Maple. Hands down.
How about that? Rick Hendrickson might have something to say about that.
Rick Hendrickson's got nothing on him.
As this one comes to the top of the 18. And Palmer, finding some space on the far side, leaves it off for Hollowell. Very important game in the Maple League standings. Left back. Gets it back. And now into the middle. It's Valentine.
That's a great
looking
ball.
for Kang, who has it in a dangerous spot. Waiting for his teammates to get up. This is Hicks who got a touch, but could not get through the defense as Brandon Mulligan made a nice play.
Perfectly timed run by Kang there.
Bazim getting it through and drawing the foul. Nim Bazim with a nice play here to give Mercersburg Academy another opportunity. And they've been dangerous, as we saw on their last set piece attempt. So it'll be Matt Athanas Linden, the senior, to play it in with his left foot. 1-1 the score. 18 minutes gone by in the second half. Linden plays a nice ball, and the head goes in. The man who scored the own goal for Peddie gets a goal for Mercersburg. Elliot Hicks, the tallest man on the field for Mercersburg Academy, receives it from Linden, and Mercersburg Academy on top 2-1. What a ball that was, and nothing Leahy could do about it.
All the way around, just a perfectly executed play by the Blue Storm on that one.
Hey, you talk about redemption.
That's right. Nobody deserves it more than Elliott Hicks. I'm telling you, one of the nicest kids you could ever come across, and as even-keeled as they get. If somebody could have an own goal and handle it, it would be Elliott Hicks.
You know, a few minutes ago, Ryan, you were saying that Mercersburg's got to get back to the way that they were playing in the first half. This was a half in the opening minutes of the second that was controlled for the most part by Peddie. Yep. And in the last 5 or 6 minutes, you've started to see some rhythm come back for Mercersburg Academy, and they're able to break through as well. This foul against Peddie.
That's right, and Peddie doesn't want to get into this game. And I know Coach McClellan, again, would have said one of his biggest fears was set pieces. So fouls are a premium.
And coming up is Kane Doyle to take the set piece. Oh, from just in front of midfield. Doyle's ball lofted high. Leahy able to snag it out of the air.
Great job by him to come out and get that ball.
And no doubt, and that's always a ball that maybe looks easy for a goalkeeper, but when you've got offenders looming,
that's right,
it's never a given, especially when you got ahead of a dangerous player in Elliott Hicks, who's right there. Elliott Hicks obviously scoring that goal. He was looming there, but Leahy sure-handed, able to make the save.
That's right. Now, I'll give Jake credit on that one too. I think that you learn as the game goes on, and he learned just a few minutes ago that your best bet is to go out and meet Elliott before he beats you to it.
Very impressed with the keeping of both teams. Jake Leahy for the Peddie Falcons, we've mentioned, will be playing his ball at Syracuse next year. And Miles Herron, a goalkeeper for Mercersburg Academy, right on cue, will receive it at his feet here. And now you're getting to see Herron taking his jolly old time, as time's starting to become a factor here for both teams. Under 20 minutes to go here in the regulation.
This is a Maple League contest. If they do end regulation in a tie, they'll play 2 10-minute sudden victory halves. But if it's still tied after that, that's it. They'll finish up in a draw.
Both teams have tied this year. Mercersburg Academy has tied once. They tied Lawrenceville in Maple League play. Peddie has tied twice. For both teams, their win-loss is 7-3.
Another good run started there by Kang and just cut off by the Peddie defense.
Hollowell on the far side looking to spring Brandon Mulligan. Mulligan making the run down the left flank. Mulligan spinning it back, could not get it by the defender in Christian Recker. Still stays inbounds as Sean Daly now has it for Peddie in the far corner. Daly playing it to himself and gets that cross in. It rolls along the goal line, stays inbounds, and picked up by Miles Herron.
It's a great job out there by Christian Recker. Christian's dad is the assistant coach. His older brother has been helping out with this program for a couple of years as well. I often refer to Christian as a Mercersburg junkie. He's been hanging around campus waiting for his chance to get on this roster for probably the last 8 or 9 years.
Yes, speaking of which, a lot of players have been waiting to get on this roster and get into this lineup. There's 7 new starters on the Mercersburg Academy team this season, which makes it even more impressive, the fact that they've had so much success this year.
Yeah, most programs take a year or two to rebuild. Quentin just simply replaced and kept going. But as Coach Hendrickson was saying in his halftime video there, they really had a team for the ages last year, and so anything this year was going to be at least some small part of a letdown.
Right.
But they've done a fabulous job of building their own identity, and I think you've seen all of that here today in terms of tenacity and their grittiness. They're not afraid of anybody.
But a very well-played soccer match by Mercersburg Academy.
Yeah, well played on both sides. We haven't seen a lot of fouls. We certainly haven't seen any foul that raises to the level of being a truly hard foul. The referees haven't had to do a whole lot today.
Off the leg of Heron out of bounds. Peddie going to start to pressure here with just over 17 minutes to go. In the second half, they need an equalizer, or their Maple League championship hopes will look very grim. DJ Palmer. Into the middle goes Palmer, leaving it off for Mulligan. And this one dangerously up into the air off the arms of the goalkeeper and Miles Heron. And he's able to recover. Lalu Dranijo was looming for Peddie.
Soccer is a funny sport. You only get so many opportunities to knock on the door, and if you don't get through, you'll regret it. And I think Lalu on that one, oh, look, I get to play.
As they kick the ball up here, does Matt Athanas Linden?
I think that might have been on purpose. Matt and I are going to have a conversation after the game.
Obviously, Ryan, you've got a nice relationship with a lot of these kids on the field, on both teams.
They are great young men to be around.
As Mercersburg plays this one out of their own 18 and out of bounds, and you're doing a nice job multitasking as well on our camera.
I'm trying.
You got in the field for it here in the second half.
Little bit. Nice throw in there by Grant, but unfortunately, you know, every time this Peddie squad gets the ball at their feet, they're immediately met by two defenders. And Mercersburg doing a great job right there, playing some small ball with each other, setting up a nice triangle. They'll take that throw in.
Yeah, the strength of Mercersburg, specifically in this game, has been their defending. We talked about that in the first half where they just completely shut down for the first, 38 minutes. This Peddie offense, a team that's coming off a game where they scored 8 goals against the Hun School. And now they'll have to use their defense to lock down this win, as Elliot Hicks got a touch and got it to Linden, who fell down. Linden still fighting for it, and so are a few other players. Linden cannot save this one in bounds. Two to 1 the score. Under 15 minutes to go. Here at Mercersburg Academy, the Blue Storm lead the Falcons 2-1.
A little gamesmanship there by Grant Connigan, trying to get up the field a little bit further with that throw-in than the referee wanted to allow him to take. So he just simply went back with it.
Harrison Wenzel plays it ahead. And now it'll be the Peddie Falcons with Brandon Mulligan into the corner. Bazim giving chase. Able to get a cross in there, but cut off by Ethan Malcolm.
Just no numbers up there right now for Peddie. It's a good cross, but there's just no one in the area. And unfortunately, that leads to a breakout for Mercersburg.
Again, it's Mulligan receiving. Bazim defending, and a corner to come. Bazim not liking the call, as he thought it was last touched by Mulligan, but the referee saw it differently, and an opportunity for Peddie here from the corner.
Yeah, I'm going to vote with the referee and the assistant referee on that one. That was pretty clearly a corner kick. And this is exactly what Peddie wants. They love coming from the corner out to the top of the box. So corner kicks.
You've got a connection to all three teams here.
That's right.
You've got a connection to Peddie. Oh, as Hollowell puts it into the corner. The volley into the upper 90, and Dan Hollowell has tied this game up again at 2.
See this one again coming across.
Hollowell lurking in the corner of the 18, and what a strike over the outstretched arms of the goalkeeper and Heron, and that is a big-time play to tie this game up at 2.
That is an absolutely brilliant strike.
The 8th goal of the season for Dan Hollowell makes this game 2-2. That ties him now with Martin Sasenga for the team lead in goals.
Not entirely sure what's going on here, but the official and goalkeeper Miles Heron and some of the Mercersburg defenders having a discussion and then checking out the net. I don't know if that Holleran's shot was so hard he broke the net.
By the way, before Dan Hollowell rudely interrupted me with his goal, I was going to say that you, Ryan Bennett, are involved with all three teams on the field here, not only Peddie, as here's Linden with a chance. Apparently these players don't want me to get this point across.
Nobody wants to hear about the referees.
Yeah, you're a referee as well.
I am. Certified.
So you're going to come to the defense of all three teams on the field here.
That's right. I'll be the universal defender.
I like it. That's what we want out of our color commentary. Completely neutral.
I warned the referees before the game, and they know me well enough. If they mess it up, I'll be the first one to call them on it.
I don't doubt it, as Valentin gets the head ball in, as we are tied at 2 here in the 30th minute of play. Trying to get a cross in was Peddie's Dranijo. Dranijo does get the cross in here. A little bit too far on the other side of the field. Mercersburg Academy able to clear it out. Into the midfield, it's Valentin, but Wenzel comes in, makes a nice defensive play. He's been all over the place. Harrison Wenzel also wearing a yellow sleeve on his left arm. One of the captains for Peddie, as Kang trying to flick this one ahead. Tim Baxter retreating for defensive purposes. Matt Althenis Linden now lofts
Offside.
a lefty ball. Valentin was offside as he came back to play it.
Yep. He's not going to like that call, but the reality is he starts his run from an offside position and then comes back to an onside position. You can't be the first person to touch the ball when you've done that.
I was talking about Harrison Wenzel. I've been very impressed with his play, and Coach McClellan said that he hasn't committed to play anywhere at school, but does have plans to play collegiately at the next level. A senior from Cape May, New Jersey, has scored a goal this year, but makes his mark on the defensive side for the Peddie Falcons. This is Elliot Hicks making a run down the near side. It was Peyton Stauffer, too far for him. Hicks.
Peyton Stauffer getting quite a bit of playing time in the second half. I can't say that I anticipated that coming in here today. Sophomore who didn't play on the squad, on the varsity squad last year, as I recall, but playing a good bit here in the second half and holding his own by all accounts on a much bigger Nigel Woodruff, the freshman from Peddie.
Yeah, if you're out on the field because Quentin McDowell put you there, then you know that Coach Quentin McDowell's got a lot of respect for you.
That's right.
And the sophomore from Round Hill, Virginia certainly has that with all of the playing time that he has seen in this match. In fact, that he was in the starting lineup given to me by Coach McDowell.
Okay.
But he didn't play as much in the first half, I'll grant you that,
That's right.
he has been on the field here in the second.
A tenacious young man. Absolutely does not back down from anyone.
Sasenga, with the exception of his bicycle kick that went off of the crossbar, hasn't had too many opportunities here in the second half, though he does draw an opportunity here for Peddie as the foul is committed by Mercersburg Academy and Ryan Claff. Quickly back in play as Palmer gives chase. Palmer spinning it back, defended by Claff. Palmer still playing with, and now Sean Daly trying to leave it off for Palmer. Cross was deflected in and back out. Palmer with his right foot looking for Sasenga. Elliot Hicks is there, still loose here for Peddie. Sasenga got a shot on, the rebound is there, but Heron able to cover up. There was no one in the area for Peddie. But that's the second big rebound we've seen off of Heron here in the second half. Lucky that time no one was there to clean up the trash.
Peddie assistant coach Sham yelling out to the guys to stay with that ball. After that initial shot, Miles Heron bobbled it, but all the Peddie players had already turned and run upfield as if the save had been made.
No advantage granted here. They'll just call the quick foul against Peddie. Christian Recker gives off to Valentin, and now another foul, as pestering at midfield was Joe Worthen.
The dangerous area of the field for Peddie to be getting into foul trouble.
Especially considering the free kicks that have been executed here by Matt Athanas Linden. Linden has put in 2 balls into the dangerous area here in the second half. That could have been goals. One was a goal off the head of Hicks. Here is Hicks. Gets it into the area of Leahy, who makes a nice save. Easy enough for him. As Peddie will start from the back. 2-2 the score. A lot of space here for the Falcons. Looking for Sasenga, who got a touch. And there to clean it up was Linden all the way back on D. Aggressive play from Miles Herron, but Athanas Linden was there to bail him out. This one kicked back out to midfield by Mercersburg. And now it's Palmer.
Yeah, there again, we've got another situation where a Peddie player has got 2 defenders immediately on him and not a lot of room to work.
Whistle here. And the referee is going to talk it over with Valentine as he's called for the foul.
Tackle a little bit late and from behind.
Now remember where these 2 teams are situated in the Maple League standings currently. Peddie is 2-0 in the Maple, while Mercersburg Academy is 1-0-1. So even though Mercersburg Academy is undefeated, they're behind Peddie in the standings for that reason. So a tie does not do them the service of putting them in first place. Only a win will do that for the Mercersburg Academy Blue Storm.
That's right. And Peddie will face Blair in the last game of the season, so that game looms large on their schedule as well.
Yeah, they'll play Hun on the 31st, and obviously didn't have too much trouble with Hun the last time that they played. And at the same time, Mercersburg Academy does have a few tests left. They'll play the Hill School, who's no slouch, and then they'll play Hun to finish off their season.
Always a tough game for Mercersburg and Hill.
This is Hollowell making a nice run, but then his attempted shot out of bounds. Some substitutions here for Mercersburg Academy. As out steps Peyton Stauffer, and it looks like Athanas Linden. No, Athanas Linden is going to stay on the field, but it is Peyton Stauffer who does come out.
The player that came on the field is wearing jersey number 19, which is not helpful to us because he's not on our roster.
How about that?
Quentin McDowell playing a joke on me today, trying to make me figure out who the guy is on the field.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad we have you in the booth. That face, you recognize, is that familiar to you at all?
Yeah, he won't turn around and look at me.
As Peddie controls here with Sean Daly.
I believe Peddie also had a substitution at that point. I think that I saw
this is Sean Daly. Bazim defending, getting it out of harm's way, and it will go out of bounds and be a throw for Peddie. Matt Athanas Linden made sure of that. He kicked that ball a mile away and is going to make the manager or whoever is on the bench go chase after it. But a throw here for Peddie, Sean Daly, with under 5 minutes to play. Headed high into the air, and it'll be a foul against the Falcons.
a little too hard into the back there while they were in the air.
So unless a team can get in the scoring books again, we're headed to overtime, which, as Ryan mentioned before, will be 2 10-minute sessions with a golden goal in effect. Valentine settles down at midfield. Ethan Malcolm eyeing his options. Hicks, who scored a goal in this game. I guess you could say he scored 2.
I was going to say.
As he was the one who last touched on Peddie's first goal. Goes down as an own goal against Elliott Hicks. But did make up for it by scoring his team's second goal, which then gave the team the lead Dan Hollowell had other ideas, placing a volley into the back of the net. Battle here between Valentine and Palmer, won by Mercersburg Academy. Sasenga with a nice tackle. And now he gets it ahead to Daly, who puts it on and into the corner. Sasenga with the assist, the beautiful ball to Sean Daly, and the junior from East Windsor, New Jersey, finds the corner and gives Peddie a 3-2 lead late.
Start this one with the inlet pass and then straight to the net. Beautiful placement.
Gorgeous finish by Peddie. As now we're in the 40th minute. You see our clock on the screen is a running clock, so you'll see that doesn't have into effect the official score, which has stopped at points during the half. So on the official score, there's about 3 minutes left.
So this game is being played in Pennsylvania, which doesn't mean a whole lot, except for the fact that Pennsylvania, we have some silly rules about where the clock and who keeps it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's actually a discussion I wanted to get into, because sometimes I'm not sure whether the scoreboard is the official time or whether the referees at midfield are keeping it.
That's right, and it's generally by league, and in the state of Pennsylvania, the public high schools, it's always on the scoreboard, but they stop it for every goal. They can stop it for...
Sasenga able to put another one in.
Wow. It's clear the players on the field do not want to hear us talk.
That is true. Brandon Mulligan, the assist, and Martin Sasenga all but ends this one as he gives Peddie a 2-goal lead with 2.5 to play. But don't tell Mercersburg Academy that, because remember last time they played Blair Academy, they were down in similar fashion, down by 2 in the last few minutes, and they were able to tie the game up, put it to overtime, and eventually win.
Yeah, things not going Mercersburg's way right now. And there's a couple of heads that are hanging, and Coach McDowell's trying to figure out how to pull the right button, push the right button to get these guys back into it.
3 unanswered goals here in the second half. In fact, the last, 18 minutes of the second half, Peddie coming alive offensively and getting 3 goals in quick succession to take the lead in this game. Doyle getting ahead, Kang fighting for it, and this one struck and hitting the leg of Valentine. Valentine cannot get past Wenzel. Lots of contact, no call. It'll go down as a good defensive play by Wenzel. Palmer getting a touch and getting by his defender, then Ethan Malcolm. Referee's flag goes up. That'll stop play as the offsides was called. Mercersburg Academy trying to hustle up here as we approach a minute to go. 4-2 Peddie, looking to all but lock up the Maple League Championship. Of course, they'll still have 2 games, as we mentioned, playing Hun and playing Blair. And depending on how Blair does the rest of the way, that last game of the year could be the determining factor in the Maple League. Between Peddie and Blair.
A win here by Peddie really puts them in the driver's seat, in that they won't have any losses. If they can hang on against Hun, then they would go into that game against Blair, Blair having at least 1 loss. And so about the worst that Peddie could do is a co-championship.
And, of course, the Falcons will take their time here. Jake Leahy, with 20 seconds to go, will boot this one away. The Peddie Falcons are going to improve to 8-3-2 on the season. Mercersburg Academy, a valiant effort here, coming up just short. And this one's going to hurt, considering how this game went. It started in the first half with that own goal. When you think back of the negative things of your Mercersburg Academy, it's going to be tough to get that own goal out of your mind, even though they erased it. But what's going to be tougher to get out of your mind is the fact that you had a 2-1 lead against the conference's top team in the last, 18 minutes of the game. and you let that slip away. 3 straight goals by the Peddie Falcons. Their offense comes alive, and they're able to get the victory.
What a great game.
Really was. Ryan, thank you for joining us here on the Strive Network. It was a pleasure to have you along, not only as our color commentator, but as our camera operator as well. And hopefully we'll see this Peddie team and perhaps this Mercersburg, or no, just the Peddie team again when we cover the Prep A championships. That is a very serious possibility to see the Peddie Falcons again on our airwaves. Of course, Peddie winning in the first round of those Prep A championships when they beat the Hun School. But Mercersburg Academy, again, dropping to 7-4-1 on the season. They still have Hill and Hun in the Maple League. Again, a good performance by Mercersburg Academy as they had the lead in the last 20 minutes, but it's the Peddie Falcons who win. So for Ryan Bennett, my color commentator, I'm Simon Rose. We thank you for joining us here on the Strive Network, and we will see you next time. Until then, so long.